Shalom, shalom, Israel, shalom. It's Brother Raya. Want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach, Mamalak Yahushua. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that go out there and labor on the highways and byways, making their body living sacrifice. In the rain, the tumults, the demons, the uprises, the uproars, they're out there standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers that are not out there as of yet, but they're building themselves up, reading, praying, fasting, taking notes, watching videos, being diligent, doing everything they could do to put themselves in a position to shake the hand, to wake up the hopeful elect. Another strong shalom to all that are mighty aquaf in this thing, that actually sincerely reverence their husbands, being teachers of good things to the children at home, being quiet, shamefaced, submissive, loving, steadfast, cooking, sewing, cleaning, doing all that the righteous acts of our foremothers on fire for the Lord. Another strong shalom to all that are mighty aquaf that are not married as of yet, but building themselves up, reading, praying, fasting, right, remaining shamefaced, and doing everything they could do to magnify the Most High in the ministry. And another strong shalom to all of the children in this thing, abstaining from all lust, concupiscence, and peer pressure, standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord. And last but not least, another strong shalom to the 12 tribes, reading, praying, fasting, making their body living sacrifice in the last days. All right, this is going to be a video on the upcoming Trump election and or Israelites persecutions and all hell that's going to be breaking loose in the last days. Right, brothers need to be watching, need to be understanding the times. Right, I'm gonna share my screen. Give me a strong con if you can see the screen. Right, give me a strong con if you can see the screen through the spirit and power Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Let's go to the book of Mark, chapter 13. It's the book of Mark, chapter 13, right? In verse number 2, right? And it reads, And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Seest thou these great buildings? They shall not be left one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, Tell us, when shall these things be? Right, so the righteous want to know prophecy. The righteous want to know the end days. The righteous want to know what's going on in the earth. The righteous is going to want to be warned and or warn the people. It says, and what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? Right, so the righteous, right, the elect, they're going to be inquiring what's going on in the last days. They're going to be watching. They're going to be on the edge of their seats, man. Let's go to the mighty book of Psalms, chapter 130. This is Psalm chapter 130 and verse. I'm going to start at, this whole thing is fire. I'm going to start at 5. I wait for the Lord. My soul doeth wait. And in his word do I hope. My soul waiteth for the Lord more than they that watch for the morning. And if you're watching for the morning, that's a long, strenuous process, right? It's nighttime, then it's dusk, then it's dawn, right? Then it's morning, right? These things happen and you'll fall asleep if you're watching for the morning. A lot of people can't stay up overnight, much more watch the sun come up. It says, I say more than they that watch for the morning, right? So the Lord is saying that your soul has to wait for the Lord. Not only does it have to wait for the Lord, but it's compared to watching, because you have to watch for things to come to pass. And that may be, may feel like forever. It's not coming to pass. We've been hearing about these prophecies forever. When is something going to happen? Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2 in verse number 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch. Now, your watch is that watchtower in the ancient world, right? Where they would sit down there and they would blow the trumpet if war were to arise or anything to warn the people. And set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me. So you have to watch, right? The Most High is not on your time. The Most High is not going to do things just because you want them to be done. The Most High has everything in a set measure and a set time. It says, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Each one of these prophecies has a timeline on the Most High's timeline that they have to come to pass by. That's why a lot of men, they faint. A lot of men, they go back in the world. A lot of men can't handle the prophecies and the visions of the Most High because they're hasty, right? They want this to be done and that to be done. And if it isn't done in their time and their mindset, they start to wax faint or not believe in the power and strength of the Most High, right? I'm going to come back to that precept. Let me get the mighty book, right, of 2nd Ezra chapter 4. The 2nd Ezra chapter 4, and I'm going to start at verse 37. It says, by measure have he measured the times. So the Most High has measured everything. It was a time for Noah's ministry to be, because he was a preacher of righteousness before the rain came down. Right? It was a time for you to be in wickedness and darkness before you came into the light. There's a time for these crafty counsels, these deceits, these inaugurations, right? These things done in the dark, blood sacrifice, right? Sorcery, warlocks, and all type of witches to conjure up evil to a set measure of time to things come to pass, right? And it's a time for the elect to be sealed, right? The Lord said, by measure have he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times, and he doeth not move, nor stir them until the set measure be fulfilled. So the Most High is dealing with a prophecy timeline if you have ears to hear. That's why the Lord said, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Right? Meaning, what does it mean it shall speak? Meaning everything prophesied from the times before shall come to pass. And all of those words be the hand, right, of Daniel, Ezekiel, right, Isaiah, right, all of these men, it's going to come to pass and you're going to be able to see it and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. So the Lord is letting you know these things aren't going to be, right, all happening in a month. Not going to all happen in 1 year. All prophecy is going to kick off in just 1 year, and everything written will come to pass in 1 year. Right? And the Lord told you, even in the book, right, of Isaiah about the destruction of Moab, right? The Lord was a little bit more specific in those days, right? Let me get that real fast. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 15, and I'm going to start. Let me see what I want. Yeah, I don't want to read this whole thing. This whole thing is fire. When the Lord destroyed, right, that remnant of Moab, casted them off for them to be vagabonds, right? They were chased out of their inhabitants and they started to flee into other coasts, right? Dive into Isaiah chapter 16 in verse number 14. It says, but now the Lord hath spoken, saying, within 3 years, as the years of an hireling, and the glory of Moab shall be contemned. So sometimes the Most High will say within 3 years, within 5 months, or within whatever the case may be, and you can jot that down and have a time stamp. Okay, well, this is going to come to pass. Okay, within 3 years, within 1 year. But the Most High in the last days, he's not speaking right the same way he used to speak in the H war. He's not going to let you know the exact moment in time. Right? This was Isaiah's prophecy. This was Isaiah's time. And in that time, he was prophesying to the people and for the exact vision to come to pass. Right now, this is our time. We are the prophets back on the earth. Right? The apostles, right? All of the disciples, all of the men on the highways and byways shaking the hand, letting you know to repent. And if you do not, the days draweth nigh. The evils draw nigh. Persecution draweth nigh. All these things upon the earth are drawing nigh. It says, and with all the great multitude, and the remnant should be very small and feeble. So that's how the Most High speaks, right? The Most High gets down. It says, then answered I and said, O Lord, that bearest rule, even we all are full of impiety, right? Now let's dive straight into it through the Spirit, right? So you have this devil, right? This is NBC News. Trump must confront hate groups. So this is biblical Bible prophecy, right? That this devil will confront all hate groups. Now, a hate group in the eyes of America is anybody that opposes what America says. Now, Americans may say you could be a sodomite. America may say same-sex marriages. America may say all of these different things. And if you go against it, you're classified as showing hate because you're not going with their agenda of the things that they want. It says his hate politic rises energy, experts say. right? Now I'm going to dive down. Trump condemns hate groups, calls racist evil. Racism evil. Now, when was racism evil, man? Because the last time I checked of the history of America, that's what America was built off of: racism, colonization, evil, hatred, and all things to build up, right? All of the society on the backs of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So when is it becoming evil, right? He's a hypocrite. Days after Charlottesville's violence, while Greenblatt says Trump's remarks condemning racism on Monday were positive. And if you know anything about this devil, if you've watched any of his interviews, right, any of his debates, or him speak, right, all you have to do is give him a button and he'll push it. All you have to do is give him armory, weaponry, and power, and he'll execute with all of the strength left in his wicked bones. Right? He is self-willed. He is mighty on the left-hand side, and all he knows is war and evil. And if he has the power, right, because he's set up by the Most High, all of these governors and leaders on the left-hand side, right? The Lord said in the book of Job, chapter 9, right? Let me get that real fast. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? The classic. Let me get that real fast. It's the mighty book of Job, chapter 9. Now, when you go into this, right, I want to touch on this too. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. I mean, he'll cover up their true faces, right? Yahushua, Ezekiel, Daniel, Noah, right? All of the men that were before us. If not, where and who is he? Right? If this isn't the devil, then who is it? If he's not making all of these laws and creating all of these customs, then who is doing it? And the Lord said in the book of Daniel, let me get this quick precept. See, a lot of people think sorcery always has to be with a broomstick or a magic wand. No, the chief sorcery, right? Let me pull this. Right, if you got ears to hear, this is a form of sorcery. The pen. Because with this pen and with this instrument, they write up all laws. They write up all decrees. They write up all things to go against Yahweh Shem Yahweh in writing, and they publish it without, and it becomes laws in the society. Therefore, if you go against anything which he have stroked with his pen or written up, you're going against his policies, his order. You're becoming an enemy of the state. The Lord said in Daniel chapter 8 and verse number 25, and through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper. Craft is evilness. Being crafty is sorcery and beguiling. It says, and in his hand, and he shall magnify himself. Didn't he magnify himself with all of his Greek gods, all of his Roman gods? And even he magnifies himself now. You have Abraham Lincoln sitting upon that chair. All of their ancient forefathers, the wars that they have wrought, sitting upon horses. It says, in his heart, and by peace shall he destroy many. What is the peace? The lies. The lies that the so-called white man tells, and the grievousness, right, of his sorcery, which he bewitches the people with. Let's get the book of Revelation chapter 13. It's Revelation chapter 13. And I'm going to start at verse number 11. It says, and behold, another beast coming out of the earth, right, which is America. You have the first beast, which is the Roman Empire, right? And then you have the second beast, which is America, right? From the Roman Empire from around 27 BC all the way out to the Western Roman Empire fell, right? 476 to around when the Eastern Roman Empire, right? 453, right? Then it came back again, revised as America. It says, and he had two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon. So don't let America fool you with its policies, with its peace, with its decrees. And the Lord said his word was smooth as oil, but war was in his heart. War is in his heart. Your heart is your mind. So with your mind comes out actions. It comes out mischief and evil. The Lord said, I'm going to read that again. And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper, and in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Right? The Lord is going to destroy him. So it's nothing that he could write, decree, or make that's going to stand right against Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Right, let me get this quick precept in the book of Isaiah chapter 10. It's Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1. Woe unto them that decreed unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. That's going back to that pen again. Those are the decrees to turn aside the needy from judgment. The needy are the ones that need justice. It's not always talking about the poor when it says the needy. The needy is the ones that need to be justified. Right? Their father has been shot. Their mother has been raped. Right? Their kids have been spoiled. They're in need of judgment. They need it to happen. But who's sitting on the throne? Who's sitting on the seat? It says, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may be robbed, the fatherless. And what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from afar? And from whom will ye flee for help, and where will ye leave your glory? Right, let me dive down, right, a little bit further down through the spirit. Right, it says, verse 13, for he saith, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people. That's wicked. The bounds of the people are their inheritance, what the Most High has given them. Now, that's why the Lord said not to touch, right, the ancient landmark which your fathers have put. Right, the ancient landmark is the accounted lands. Right, Ephraim has their accounted land. Right, you have Judah that have their accounted land. Right, Benjamin that have their accounted land. Right, all the tribes that have their bounds. But what does the so-called white man do? He has stolen, he has raped, he has murdered, and he has stolen all of the Americas. Chased out the so-called Native American Indians, chased out the Reubenites, chased out everybody and anybody, and even his own people, with wars with French and wars with Spanish right on the American soil. So he says, by my strength and my hand have I done it. Meaning what? He magnifies himself in his heart. And you can't tell this man anything. He's prideful, he's boastful, and he has a God complex. He's the one that runs Google. He's the one that sells you anything that you need or have to have. He's the one that supplies you whatever you want and every need on the left-hand side. He's the one that could take care of you, could guide you, and all of this is in sorcery. He could teach you, right? He could take care of you, right, with government assistance. He could protect you with armory and guns. If you're not in the spirit of the Most High, you're going to let this man be your God. You're going to let this man rule over you to the point where you forget the true God you serve. And that's why idolatry was so prevalent with the children of Israel. Why? Because they got blessed on the left-hand side. All of those bulls, brazen altars, and the things that they have done with sorcery has gotten them wealth, have gotten them away to where they forgot who they serve. And I have robbed their treasures, and have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people. We'll read that again. In my hand have found as a nest the riches of the people. Look at all of the riches we used to have. Where are they? It says, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth. You can't tell me this isn't the so-called white man. You can't tell me that everything that the Bible is talking about isn't talking about this man. For all you people that are Christians in word, but when I say Christians in word, that means you don't really follow the Lord, right? You're Christians in your own mindset to follow what you want to and what you think the Bible is about. You're going to be destroyed. To love all people and all be one and not understand what's going on in the earth right now, you have to be confused, lost, dizzy, or not on fire. It says, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth it? Or shall he saw the mighty right itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod shall shake itself against them that lifteth it up, or as the staff that should lift up itself, as it were no wood. Man, you can't boast yourself with your strength that you've done through your wars, right? Your evils, your medicines, your pharmaceuticals, and all the things that you've done to boast up yourself against the Most High, when he's the one that gave you the power in the first place. You're set up to be destroyed. Now I'm gonna show something real fast. Now me and the mighty brothers at camp, on the Shabbat, we were talking through the spirit, and a brother kind of brought some of the brothers' attention right on this chat EBT thing or this chat GPT or whatever it's called. Now I'm gonna type something in. Right, Araya watchman for Israel. Right. Let me see. Let me see if I could pull this up. Now I just typed in who is Araya watchman for Israel, and it comes up Araya watchman for Israel is not widely known, right, or recognized as a major organization entity. It's possibly that it might refer to a specific group, right? Salakia, bear with me. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm not sure if you can see this second window. Let me know if you can see this second window I just popped up. The brothers can see this second window. You may not be able to see this second window. Let me see. I'm going to take a picture of it. Bear with me. All right. If you can't see the second window, let me know. Just respond in the chat if you can see the second window or not. Okay, but I'm about to pull this up real fast. All right. Now, when you type this in, this is chat EBT, GBT, or whatever it's called. Right now, it says Araya is one of the key figures in the Hebrew Israelite community and a prominent member of Watchmen for Israel. Right? Watchmen for Israel is a Hebrew Israelite group that promotes the belief that African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans are the true descendants of the Israelites. They engage, right, street teaching, online teaching, the community outreach to spread their message. Right? So I brought this out to show you, right, that these devils, this is on chat EBT. Anybody can type this in. Right? Let me add this stage back through the spirit real fast. That you literally could go on and you could type your name in, man. Now, I kind of saw that and brothers was kind of confounded. And we're all nobody. Nobody is anybody. Nobody can say, well, yeah, about time they don't recognize me or look at my works. That's madness. We're all nobody. So the fact that you can go on this AI and type in your name, and then I typed in my government name. When I typed in my government name, it came up as well, right? And it said, well, he's street. Then another brother showed me when he typed in my name, well, he's known for fiery teachings. He's known for this. Brother typed in his name, and I camp, he's known for giving charity. This brother's known for him having a family. This brother's known for being a leader, right? This brother's known for being on fire. And I mean, they have it jot down to the T on chat EBT or GBT or whatever it's called, right? I'm going to look this up real fast again. Like I said, for brothers that may or may not know about this chat EBT thing, or whatever it's called, GBT, that they got a whole portfolio on you, man. Right? Now I want to type this in again. And I'm gonna pull it up and show brothers. All right, let me pull this back up to show brothers again. All right, if brothers can see this, put in that chat EBT, Araya appears to be associated with the Hebrew Israelite movement, which includes groups like Watchmen for Israel. The Hebrew Israelite movement comprises various fractions of some which are extremist views. So they're telling you they already have extremist views. Now, looking at the bottom portion of it, right, if you can see, it says more detailed information, specific inquiries about Araya's role in teaching might be found related to the Hebrew Israelite websites or resources dedicated to the study, monitoring such movements. Monitoring. Now, I mean, you could type in any brother's name, man. Right? I'm typing another brother, not Kemp. And I wish I could pull it up through the screen, right? But, it's not working. Right? Sorcery. Right? Satan trying to take away from what brothers are trying to bring out through the spirit. But like I said, I put in my government name. I even put in my wife's name. Now, my wife doesn't have any social media, right? She isn't on Facebook. She isn't on Twitter, right? She isn't on Instagram. And nobody knows her Hebrew name but our small congregation. I typed in her government name in chat EBT, and it pulled up she is a member of Watchmen for Israel. This is who she is. This is who her husband is. And they all know this. You type them brothers' government names, all of these things come up. So that just goes to show you that these laws coming to pass and these things aren't not taking forever. But I don't know if prophecy is ever going to come to pass. Maybe this is a lie. No, they're gathering information. They're gathering intel. They're watching you. Everybody on this live is now linked to, I wouldn't say me, but the truth. And now it's linked up to a hate group. Whatever you watch is being monitored. Everything is being monitored. And I'm going to show you by the links and the things that are public records that shows you these things. Now, brothers brought this out many a times in time past, right? The Southern Lavity Pro Center, right? 25 hate groups, anti-government groups were tracked in Maryland. Now, out of all of these, you have Watchmen for Israel, right? General hate group. So they're looking at us as a general hate group, and they're looking at us as a target. Now, what does the First Amendment say? The First Amendment to the United States Constitution, right, prevents the government from making laws respecting an establishment of religion. So that first law that they're even making in this society is built off of a lie. They're going to take away, or they're going to try to take away the words of the Most High. They're going to be a famine of the word. And they're going to try to persecute, kill, and destroy so-called Christians. Now, anybody knows what the Christians were. The Christians were called Christians first in Antioch. Why? Because that's where the first things were going down, where persecutions were arising. Right? Stephen in the early church was the first one prosecuted, right, and killed and stoned for Hamashiach wa Malak Yahushua when you go into the history. From there on out, you had a spur of persecutions that were going on during that time, and chiefly arising in around 64, right, AD. That was going around during the time of Paul, right? It says, prohibiting the free exercise of religion and abrading the freedom of speech and freedom of the press from freedom of assembly, right? So this whole nation is built off of a lie. It's built off of a contradiction. It says Trump tells Christian voters they won't have to vote anymore if he's elected. And you know what that means, bro. You know what that means. If you don't have ears to hear what this devil is saying, I'm going to just come out and tell you. When he says you won't have to vote anymore, he's saying that he's going to set things straight. When he comes out, everybody could be themselves. And you won't ever have to vote anymore. This making America great again is going to come to pass. And this devil is the face, right, of Esau being who he naturally is. Now, if you haven't seen this, right? This is extremely sad, right? When you're going into it, the sister Sonia that was killed. Says body camera video reveals chaotic scene of deputy fatally shooting Sonia Massey, who called 911 for help. She's calling for help. She called them to help and assist her, but they end up killing her in cold blood. Now, I'm not sure if brother's seen this video or not, but it's pretty graphic. I don't want to get the channel taken down, right? But, I'm going to try to play a little bit of it.
What do you want help with? Huh? What do you want help with?
I heard somebody outside.
Yeah, we checked your house. We checked your backyard. I walked all the way through all these backyards. We checked your front yard.
But you know what I want? I want justice for my baby.
Yeah. See, that's what the father said. He said, you know what I want? I want justice for my baby. I want justice. But who sits in the seat of justice? Who's the one that can rule and make decrees? The so-called white man. So when are you going to wake up and finally realize there is no justice in this place? There is no peace in this place. And this is not a place to make your bed and get rest.
I want justice for my baby.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You killed the wrong black woman this time.
Amen. Amen.
What is your last name? Shouldn't have to think about your last name. You're not in trouble. I just need to text.
You're not in trouble. Now, this video is only 2 minutes long. Now, within the swirl of a minute, things escalate to the point where she's murdered in cold blood. They giggling, they laughing. She's in the comfort of her home. She should be at a peaceful like a state.
Nasty.
You have an ID? That makes things so much easier. I just driver's license will do.
But I want to tell y'all, the sheriff here is an embarrassment. Because this man should have never had a badge. He should have never had a gun. He should have never been given the opportunity.
And look at the young sister on the side. The young sister right here.
He should have never had a gun.
She like, that's
he should
right.
have never been given the opportunity to kill my
Look at
child.
her. Look like she got a lot she want to say.
You see that stack right there, maybe?
And you can tell by that tattoos there's some death angels or some biker clique or some KKK demons.
1 second.
Check my turd. We don't need a fire while we're here.
Right.
Now they're giggling and they're laughing and everything seems to be under control. But as soon as she started to mention, right, and we know his name is not Jesus Christ. We know that that's in the Greek. We know his real name is Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, right? The Prince of Life and the Prince of Peace. We know our King's true name. But anything around coming in that spirit sets Esau off. Ticks Esau, grinds his gears, man. Makes his boils pop. Makes him want to go crazy.
Huh?
Where you going?
Away from your hot steaming water.
Away from my hot steaming water?
Yeah.
Oh, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. This is what she's saying. Now, this sister, she can say anything she wants to say. Even with the First Amendment, you have the freedom of speech and to your so-called religion. So they were breaking their own laws, writing grievous laws on top of that, and have the power to do as they will in their own society, and who's going to hold them up to the judgments which they have done. I swear to you better not. I'll shoot you in your F face. Now he immediately grabs the gun. Immediately. Soon as you start to speak in anything that revolves around the Lord, the truth, anything that's similarly around the truth. Let me get this quick precept. That's the same spirit that was going on in the ancient world, man. In the times, right, that Peter walked the earth and, many other apostles. Right, this is the mighty book of Acts, chapter 4 and verse 1. And as they spake unto the people, the priests and the captains of the temple and the Sadducees came upon them, being grieved that they taught the people. What does it mean they're being grieved? Meaning they was pissed off. They was angry. They was having a deep breath. They was probably having a damn heart attack, anxiety. Stop speaking in that name. They were getting aroused and angered and pumped up. It says, and preach through Yahushua the resurrection from the dead. And they laid their hands on them. So this isn't anything that hasn't happened before. People will chase you, stone you, kill you, lynch you, murder you. If you want to speak in the name of the Lord, just know what this comes with, man. It comes with persecution. The Lord said, this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil, man. So if you speaking in the light, you coming in the light, and much more above all, you're the image of the light. The image of the light is Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahushua. If that's around you and it's glowing, and you're letting your light shine, and people perceive the spirit that's on you, because the spirit that's on you is going to make them upset. Right? It's really a battle of a warfare of good and evil, righteousness and wickedness. Jacob against Esau. You understand? It says, and they laid their hands upon them and put them in hold until the next day, for it was eventide. Meaning they locked them up. Right? Let me get this other quick precept. This is Acts chapter 5 and verse 40. And it reads, and it says, and to him they agreed that when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should speak. So like they should not speak in the name of Jesus. From them they let go. So they're telling you can't speak in that name. The true name is Yahushua. But anything around that, you speak in that, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to transfer. Just know the times we living in. How many times did this happen that it wasn't recorded? How many times did this happen where it wasn't on a body cam? How many times did these demons throw away dead bodies and people come up missing? How many people come up missing, man? Now really think about it. With all the what they call it, forensics, and all of the red beams and all of the blue beam lights, all of the dogs, all the surveillance. You telling me with all this technology, all these things going across, people still coming up missing? But yet you can find junky car parts with magnets by sticking it down in lakes and pulling them up. And you can find the most craziest things at a beach, right? A watch from 12 years ago, but you can't find a human being. Somebody's life.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Drop the pot.
And she obviously is showing no threat. They're in her house. She has no weapons. She isn't doing anything. And he immediately reaches for his gun to kill her.
This man had 2 convictions for DUI. He had a conviction for driving under the influence.
And he was a
And he
drunkard.
was a member of law enforcement. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment to this country, to this county.
And this woman, the last thing that she thought in her nightgown, and nobody knows the time, I'm not sure, maybe somebody does know the time of night, but I don't know the time of night off the top of my head. It's pure nightfall. It has to be at least 8, 9, 10 o'clock. She's in her nightgown. She's calling for help. She's scared that she was going to die that very night. There it is, 1 o'clock in the morning. Just before 1 o'clock in the morning. See, that's the spirit. Right? They walking around her house. And they should be comforting her, man. But this society isn't for you. Let me get a precept. Go to the mighty book, right, of Acts chapter 5 and verse 41. Then I'm going to get this other precept. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. So you're going to have to suffer shame for the name of the Lord, man. Now, she might have been set up, right, God forbid, right, just to be a wake-up call for you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. that you may understand and see the days that we living in. You know, the Lord speak of once, yea, twice, yet man perceiveth it not. Meaning man don't really know what's going on. He perceives what's actually the times that they living in. Let me get this quick precept in the book, right, of First Peter. This is the book of First Peter, chapter 2, and I'm going to start at 19. It says, for this is thankworthy, if a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering wrongfully. And you're going to suffer wrongfully in this truth with persecutions, man. You're going to be justified as a black extremist, right? Somebody contrary to the society, an enemy of the state. It says, for what glory is it if when ye be buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently? But if when ye do it well and suffer for it, ye take patiently, this is acceptable with God, man. You catching hell for his name is acceptable in the sight of the Most High. You suffering for the Most High's name is acceptable for the Most High. Everybody can't suffer for the Most High. Everybody not built spiritually for that. They tell you in the world you're not built like that, man. But they say that in evilness. Like you can't rob him. You can't kill him. You don't really want to fight. You're not built like that. See, a lot of people, you got to be built to bear the name and cross of the Most High. By Hashem Yahushua. You have to be built for what comes to this truth. And nobody can stand up and say, I'm built like that. It's the mercy and the grace of the Most High in the day where it's presented to you. Because the Most High can have mercies happen. Miracles happen. Stephen, when he was getting stoned, he called upon the name of the Lord. And he saw a vision of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua sitting in the third heaven, man. What would that do to your spirit? You're about to be brought forth before governors, all the princes of the earth, for the name of the Lord. And then the Lord have an apparition happen. The Lord have a vision happen. The Lord have you speaking in the Hebrew out of nowhere. The Most High put his spirit on you, and you have chills running up and down your bones to the point where you're weary with forbearing and you cannot stay, like Jeremiah, man. Right? This is the book of Acts, chapter 7, in verse number 54. And when they heard these things, they were cut to the heart. And that's what's going to happen to Esau. When he hears you're not going to deny the Lord, that you're an Israelite, and that you care about the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and you're ready to die for that, they're going to be cut. When you tell them you're the devil to their face. When you prophesied against them, right, in the book of Daniel. When you go into the book of Ezekiel. When you all in Isaiah. When you all in Nahum and Micah. You giving them those cuts. They're going to be cut to the heart. And they garshed on them with their teeth. That sounds like a demon. But he, being full of the Holy Ghost, looked up steadfastly unto heaven. And that's what's going to save us. Being jacked up in the spirit. Being on fire. Full of the Holy Ghost. It didn't say full of uncertainty. Full of fear. Full of anxiety. Full of doubtfulness. Full of being double-minded. It says he was full of the Holy Ghost. Looked up steadfastly unto heaven. And saw the glory of God and Yahweh Shai standing on the right hand of God. And said, behold, I see the heavens open, and the Son of Man standing on the right hand of God. Then they cried out with a loud voice and stopped their ears. Right, this is a mean account. And this is kicking off the persecutions, right, that happened to the so-called Christians during this time. And ran upon them with one accord. And cast them out of the city and stoned them. And the witness laid down their clothes at the young man's feet, whose name was Saul. Right, so Paul was out there when this was going on. And they stoned Stephen, calling upon God, saying, Lord, Yahweh shall receive my spirit. But these are his last words. The last words of him being stoned is saying to receive my spirit and forgive them and lay this not to their charge. While he's getting bruised, beaten, and hit with all type of bricks and stones and boulders and cement, right? That's busting up his skull, right? Meat and flesh are hanging out, broken bones. I mean, he had to be in a very, very treacherous like a state. And he kneeled down So in the midst of getting stoned, seeing all this, his mind was of the Lord. His mind was of salvation. His mind was Yahweh Shah. That's why in the furnace of adversity, like when Peter, when he took his hands and his mind and his eyes off the Lord, he started to sink. Don't get fearful when these things kick off, man. Because like the Lord said, when they start snatching you out the houses, then shall it be known who are my chosen. You can put your mitre on right now, your fringes. You can read your 7 chapters, your 3 chapters. You can watch the videos. But that's not impressing the Most High. That's not sealing you. That's not what's going to save you. The test of time, like it says, and I'm going to get that precept too, right? The trial of all things are in the end, like it says in Sirach. Right, let me get that quick precept real fast. Right, it's the mighty book of Sirach, right, chapter 16 and 22. Who can declare the works of his justice, or who can endure them? For his covenant is afar off, and the trial of all things is in the end. Right, that's what it really matters. It's the end of it. Yeah, you could be born, you could be on fire, you can endure, and then you could deny the Lord in the last seconds of your life. But that's the trial of all men. That's why you had those men that were on the cross, the malefactors. He denied himself, man, and believed in the Lord. And the Lord said, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. That's the trial of him in the end. Believing in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. What's going to be your trial? What's going to be the end of your life? And what are you going to do? Well, let me get this real fast. Let me go back to that. It says, verse 21, for even thereunto were ye called, because Yahweh Shai also suffered for us, leaving us an example. The example isn't always how he fasted for 40 days. The example isn't how he kept the Passover all the time. Right? His example wasn't always how he treated his brother with love. Another example he laid down to show you, to image after, is death, man. That ye should follow his steps. That's a deep precept, man. Right? This truth is the sweet, and don't forget the bitter. What was given to Ezekiel was lamentations, mourning, and woe. These are the things that come along with being in this truth. Right? I want to touch on the 40 martyrs, right, of Sabi, real fast through the spirit. Right? In case brothers don't know this account, right? These men, right? This is the 40 martyrs of Sabi, right? Or the Holy 40. It says, let me see. It says, whose martyrdom in the year 320 AD for the Christian faith is recounted in traditions, right? So, I mean, this thing is passed down from all these generations, right? Of how they died for the Christian faith. But we know what the Christian faith is, for the truth. It says they were killed nearly of the city of Sabia and Lestria, Armenia, right? Present day Slavius in Turkey, right? And that's where a lot of those persecutions were arising, because Antioch is in present day Turkey. Victims of the persecutions, I'm going to just go down to the account, read straight to the account. According to Baisley, 40 soldiers who had openly confessed themselves Christians, meaning what? It wasn't the days nor the time to be confessing that you are a Christian, were condemned by the perfect to be exposed naked and frozen pond. So they took these men that classified themselves as Christians and said that they believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah. You know what they did? They stripped them naked and they were going to freeze them to death near Sabi on a bitter cold night, that they might freeze to death. And that's going back to Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. But let me get that quick precept. That they may examine us by torture. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Right? These FEMA camps and these prison cells aren't going to be just locking you up, right? And then you don't have a phone call. and that's your torture. You'll never be able to talk to your daughter again. Right? That's happening now. People, CPS is snatching kids left and right. Right? That's nothing new. It's going to be more of a torturous type of mentality. It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous. Lie in wait for the righteous is waiting for all of the bills and all of the laws to come to pass. All of the counsels, all of the secrets, all of the things that they're doing for action to kick off on the earth, and they lie in wait at the opportune time, like a lion on the left-hand side, to pounce on the sheep. Because he is for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. It says he's clean contrary. He likes to obey the laws of the Most High, not the laws of the land. He likes to shake his hand against us with words in the Bible. He's not a sodomite. He shows strength with wisdom and honor, not strength in military and guns. Everything that he does is contrary to what I stand for. He upbraideth us, meaning he despitefully gets on us by prophecy, with us in offending the law, and objecteth to our infirmity of transgressions of our education. He professeth to have the knowledge of God, and calleth himself the child of God. He was made to reprove our thoughts. That's deep, because they know why we're created. They know we're the gods on the earth. They know why we are who we are and have the zeal that we have. He is grievous unto us, even to behold. Meaning they're tired of looking at our dark skin. They're tired of seeing, right, the woolly hair. They're tired of hearing the words of life. They're tired of hearing about Jeremiah. They're tired of hearing the words of Ezekiel, and they don't give a damn about the words of John. They're grievous to behold, meaning the prophets, the elders, the image of Yahweh. Everything that's a track record of everything we stand for, they hate it. For his life is not like other men's, and his ways are of another fashion. We're the only one that walks with staffs. Right? Our whole spirit of having salt, speaking in the Hebrew, moving how we move, talking how we talk, and more importantly, being the image of Yahweh, we esteem him as counterfeits and abstain from our ways as from filthiness. He pronounceth the end of the just. We were just talking about the end. The end is where everything stands. The end of Esau is destruction. Like the Lord said, though thy latter end was small, so that thy beginning be small, thy latter end should be greatly increased. In the book of Job, the 8th chapter. Just as to be blessed and maketh his boast that God is his father. This is the point. Let us see if his words be true. Let us prove what shall happen to him. So they're going to prove you. Prove is an old ancient way of saying try you. Try you mean what? You may make a sword and you try that sword. You beat that sword. You put that sword through iron. You put that sword through the saw. You sharpen up that sword with other swords and other armory and other weaponry, and you make sure that it's proven. He's going to prove you. Make sure you are what you say you're talking about, man. People prove people in the streets. Yeah, I heard all this. You was talking. What's up? Oh, yeah, I heard. Hey, what's up? Right? They want to see what you about. They want to prove whether you really who you say you are, man. And this is the trying process of gold in the fire. It says, for if the just man be the son of God, he will help him and deliver him from the hand of his enemies. Let us examine him with despitefulness and torture, that we may know his meekness and prove his patience. What is that talking about? That's talking about the account we're going over right now. Let's go back to it. I'm going to read it again from the top all the way through. According to Baisley, 40 soldiers who had openly confessed themselves Christians were condemned by the perfect to be exposed naked upon a frozen pond near Sabiti on a bitter cold night, that they might freeze to death. Among the confessors, one yielded, and leaving his companions, sought the warm bath near the lake. You know what that is? That's temptation. Meaning all of these 40 men were ready to die. I'm sure they were encouraging one another, probably speaking in Hebrew, talking about all the accounts of their forefathers, letting them know that this is the exact moment and this is the exact hour that we must die for the Lord. I'm sure they were on fire, even though they were extremely cold. But one yielded. One said, you know what? I can't do it. I'd rather be warm. I'd rather have a simple way out. I'd rather not die gloriously. So he sought a warm bath near the lake. And that's spiritual because why is it a warm bath near the lake on a cold night? Many temptations are going to be all around you, and it's going to be an easy way out. When you're getting tortured, hey, you may have your daughter, may get you your own little house and may have all this food, all this water. They may set you up like the government does. You know what? You want to join the army? Okay, you have a place to stay. You know, you'll move up in rank. You'll get this amount of money. They'll try to despite and give you money, you understand, for the things that you go through, which have been prepared for any who might prove inconsistent, right? So they had made this warm bath for anybody to say that they didn't want to die for the Lord. Hey, look, y'all, it's a warm bath. All you got to do is jump in it, and you're not going to die. You know that warm bath looked good to them. Upon immersion into the cauldron, one who yielded went into shock and immediately died. So he died in sin. He died in fear. He died in unbelief. He died and thought that as soon as he got out of that cold, jumping into that warm bath, he was going to feel good. But the Lord judged him, and he immediately went into shock and he died. So you think you getting a good way out by getting some food, some shelter, joining the army, tucking in your fringes? You're not understanding what's really going to come to pass in those days, man. You're going to still die. And you're going to have a wicked, honorable life to never be remembered. Let me get this quick precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Sirach, chapter 40, 44. Salaki, 41. All right, let me get this quick precept. This is the book of Sirach 44 and 8. There be of them that have left a name behind them. The them that have left a name behind them is those men that died for the truth. Those men that have wrought mighty actions. You got Judas Maccabees. He's left a name behind. You got Noah, right, that died of old age. He have left a name behind. David have left a name behind. You want to have the type of mentality that you leaving a name behind, man. You're not going to stain your honor. That their praise might be reported. And some there be which have no memorial, who have perished, are as they that had never been, and has become as though they had never been born, and their children after them, meaning they have no memorial. Now, this man that died and went into shock, he has no memorial. His memorial was stained. Judas Iscariot memorial is stained. Right? Malcolmus, right? Alchemist, right? All of these men's honor, they're stained. One of the guards, Elchilus, was set to keep watch over the martyrs, and beheld at the moment a supernatural brilliance overshadowing them. He had once proclaimed himself a Christian, threw off his garments, and joined the remaining 39. So the Spirit of the Lord hopped on him, man. He was supposed to be watching the martyrs, right? And it says, beheld at this moment a supernatural brilliance overshadowed them, and at once he proclaimed himself a Christian, threw off his garments, and joined the remaining 39, that there may be a complete number, which is 40, man. 40 is a number of completion. Thus the number of 40 remained complete. At daybreak, the stiff bodies of the confessors, which still shewed signs of life, were burned and the ashes cast in the fire. Christians, however, collected the precious remains of their relics and distributed throughout many cities. Check that out, man. So I mean, this isn't a game. This isn't a joke. Martyrdom is serious. Being the enemy of the state is serious. Let me get this quick precept. And these people, they know exactly who you are. Now, before I get this precept, I want to touch on this. For all that don't know, you have the Five Eyes Alliance, you have the Nine Eyes Alliance, and you have the 14 Eyes Alliance. Now, these eyes are relic to watch you in everything you do. How you sleep, what you watch, where you work, what you find funny, what you're into, what you're amused at, who you're married to, how many children you have, what you research. It says the Five Eyes is an Anglosphere intelligence alliance comprising Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. These countries are a party in a military UK-US agreement of a treaty for joint cooperation and single intelligence. Meaning what? They're fully designed to watch you. Now, the Five Eyes Alliance, United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. You also got Denmark, Norway, France, and the Netherlands, because you have the Nine-Eye countries. And what do eyes mean? Eyes watch you. Who are the eyes of the Lord? The eyes of the Lord are the angels, beholding everything. So he tries to make himself like the Most High. Let me get this quick precept in the book of Genesis. Because when they were building, right, the tower of Babel, what happened? The angels came down with their eyes and they watched and behold all that was going on. And they brought up the report to the Most High. The same way these eagles, which is the so-called white man, he'll sit up on high and he'll watch you. And eagles can see over 2 to 3 miles long. The average man, right, and we could pull up the research, average man can't see as far as an eagle. An eagle can see 7 times to 3 times longer than an average human being. Meaning what you can see as a mortal man, he's looking at it high places. It has more intelligence and understanding on the left-hand side than you do. Like the Lord said, he is wiser than Daniel. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 11, and verse number 4. It says, and they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. So the Lord is examining. He's the one that truly sits on high to see all things. But yet, the so-called white man has likened himself to having eyes. Don't the chariots have eyes all round about them, that they may see all things, which are the eyes of the angels? Right? So you have the Nine-Eye countries, which you just touched on. And then you have the 14 Eyes Alliance. The 14 Eyes Alliance is an extension of the 9. See, they keep extending it. Right? It was 5. Right? Then it's 9. Now it's 14. And they're getting more and more and more and more intelligence on what you're doing, which is now Belgium, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Sweden. Right? And I'm going to touch on this real fast. Now, what they call the radical Hebrew Israelites. And they know exactly who brothers are and what brothers are doing. Right? I want to touch on this real fast. Find this part of the article I want. So like it, bear with me. On the time this specific part that I wanted. Okay, come. It says the background of the Hebrew Israelites. The group defined as radical Hebrew Israelites, right, by the SPLC, right, the Southern Poverty Law Center, are a part of the One West or the One West ideology formed in the 1960s. So they have a case. They have a case. And that's what the so-called white man does, man. To be brought to trial, you have to have a law that you broke. There's no law that says I can't be an Israelite. There's no law that says I can't read the Bible. There's no law that says I can't have freedom of speech. That's why they're changing laws. New men are coming into office. Things are being changed that they may have a case against you, like it says in Matthew, the 10th chapter. How are you going to be brought before governors and counselors, right, and kings for my name's sake, if you haven't broken anything? And this is what you call building a case. In the 1960s by Albert Bibbins, right? And named after the street address of the original school in Harlem, neighborhood of the New York City. Bibbins called for the return of a more extreme coherent to religious texts. As the set splendid, it's given rise to much of the hate-filled beliefs exhibited by radical Hebrew Israelites. No, what they should be saying is that the spirit of the Most High was set upon Abba Bibbins to wake up, right? And I heard by many elders or many accounts, right, that Abba Bibbins was taught, right, by a slave, right, that knew he was an Israelite, gave the understanding to him. He carried it on from there and woke up other brothers. So the truth was never not around. The truth was always here. It says, hate filled by beliefs exhibited by the radical Hebrew Israelites. This list today, among the most prominent groups, there is consensus in most beliefs, but they lack unity and often compete and slander each other. And that's a shame that the so-called white man even knows that in us coming together, we still have division. Right? It's always somebody beefing, and this camp beefing against this camp beefing against. It's so much division and hatred amongst our own people. Right? Check this out. It says radical Hebrew Israelites often refer to the Jews as fake Jews, using the name Amalekite. So they already know what's going on. They know it to a T. In reference to biblical enemy of the Israelites, sometimes they lump the Jews with Edomites, referring to another biblical nation that radical Hebrew Israelites use as a derogatory term for white people. They label Edomites, come with a claim that white people are the descendants of the biblical character Esau, who radical Hebrew Israelites have interpreted to be the devil. Now check this out. They have built a case on everybody on this live, man. And they're watching you. Now, you also have another alliance called the National Security Agency, which is also called the NSA. The NSA is an intelligence agency of the United States Department of Defense under the authority of the Director of National Intelligence. The DNI or the NSA is responsible for global monitoring, collection, and processing of information and data for foreign intelligence. So they're responsible for global monitoring, meaning what? They can monitor anything you do at any given time. This computer is not only connected to YouTube, but it's connected to the government, and they're watching. Everybody's watching. People in Australia can have all your text message through the Five Eyes Alliance. They can know your grandmother's death. They can know every part and every inch about everything you do. Why? Because they are the eagle. Stop forgetting who this man is, man. What he stands for, what he does, and how evil he is. And how he is the top predator. I'm going to come back to that. A human with perfect eyesight has 20/20 vision. Bald eagles have 24 or 25 vision, meaning they can see 4 or 5 times farther than the average person. A bald eagle can spot prey the size of a rabbit 3 miles away. Eagle's eyes are so huge they fill most of his skull. Now that's spiritual, man. Why is his eyes so big they cover half of his head, man? Because he's watching you. He can see afar off. He knows what's going on. He sits on high, an inhabitant to the earth, and he swoops down from afar. Let me go back to that. You also have counterintelligence, proposes specializing in the discipline known as signal intelligence, the SIGINT. The NSA, right, the National Security Agency, is also tasked with protection of the U.S. communications and networks and formation systems. So they're all in your business. And guess what? It's legal. It's legal. Can the government spy on your phone? Lawful interceptions, governments may sometimes legally monitor your mobile phone communications, right? So they can listen to your phone calls. Now, you can't get upset. You can't get mad. You can't hang up the phone. You can't call the police. You can't call the government because they're the ones that write these laws. There's nothing you can do. You have no privacy. Don't think that when all hell starts breaking loose, you're going to be the only Israelite in Israelite history that gets away. Tucked in your fringes, and you got a little VPN network right on your internet, and they'll never know what sites I'm on. I got the VPN. Everybody, be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Everybody, go get your VPN networks. Right? We got to move. Wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. They're the one who has the VPN networks. They're the one that creates the blocks. They're the ones that continue to watch. All right, let me get the classic at 2nd Esdras chapter 16. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16. And I'm going to start at verse. This whole thing is fire. Start at 67. Behold, God himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, and meddle no more with them forever. So shall God lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. What does that mean? Meaning they're going to grab you up and they're going to force feed you idolatrous foods, right? Things sacrificed to the spiritual demon Satan. They're going to have you to be eating blood, right? They're going to be feeding you unclean animals. That's why what Eleazar, right, our father in the Maccabees, right, let me get this quick account why they tried to do that. Because they tried to stain his honor and have him to sin before he died, that he may not, right, be redeemed by the Most High. And that's their whole gimmick and their whole spirit and what is to do. It says, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth to eat swine flesh. So when they grabbed up Eleazar, he was a principal scribe, right? He was a man of honor, an aged man, a man of wisdom to be stood up for when he comes into the room. Because why? You got to rise before the hoary head. He was one of the principal men in Israel. They tried to have him to go off and to eat swine's flesh, but he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth, and came in his own accord to the torment. So his mind wasn't to give it over to Esau's requests, his desires, and the things that he wants. So when they try to grab you up and feed you with things, it's the same things back on the earth. It's the same pork, the same things given to idols, the same evils all over again. And they that consist unto them shall be had in derision, consented to them, and into reproach and trodden underfoot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. That insurrection is coming. And it's only one way to prepare yourself. Right? It's not an in-depth breakdown how to prepare yourself. Do I get a bunch of lima beans and do I get a bunch of cases of corn? How do I get myself together? I got to get a hiding spot, an underground railroad system. Why? Esau is tapping your phones. He listens to everything you do. There's spies all around you. There's nothing that you can say where this man can't hear it. So to think that you could accumulate yourself a plan in captivity, that he's not going to somehow, some way, whether he hears it electronically or whether it's a spy or somebody coming in, because they had spies in the ancient world. There were many spies on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side. We spied out the land in the book of Numbers, the 13th chapter. Right? You had spies in the book of Judges, the 1st chapter. You had spies in Joshua, right, the 2nd chapter. Rahab the harlot and different things with the high people. Spies are prevalent in Luke 20 and 20. They try to spy out the Lord. They try to spy out Paul and bring him into subjection, right, and bondage in Galatians, the 2nd chapter. See, whether it's electronically or spies or some type of evil spirit of sorcery unknown of by man, somebody's going to see it. This is insurrection. Insurrection, an organized or usually violent act or revolt or rebellion against an establishment government or governing authority or a nation state or other political entity by a group of citizens or subject also any act of engaging in such a revolt. So they're looking at anything that you do as revolting against this man's system. That's why it says, and there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Right? Meaning they're going to grab you up and you're going to be an enemy of the state. They should be like madmen, meaning what? Showing their true colors. Because if the Most High right now gave the decree and said, you know what, you could kill all the Edomites, or you know what, you could build up Jerusalem again, or go to war under the hand, and the Most High set up this man on earth, brothers would be zealous. They'll be screaming, they'll be, okay, all praise to the Most. Let Yahweh Shah come down, man. And set everything up in order, and you're the captain. You're the officer, right? You're over this pot. You're over this, and we're about to go to war. You know how zealous you would be? Why? Because you have the commandment from the king, and now we can actually do the things we've been waiting for. Their king are their presidents and their rulers and their elites. They're waiting for things to be in motion and laws to be passed that they may act as if they're madmen, who they truly are. We truly want to do things, but we have composure. We may shake a hand at the job, right? We may smile or, laugh here and there. We may blend in, like the Lord said in the book, right, of Proverbs, the 30th chapter, right? Let me get this quick precept. How beautiful it is the way of a serpent upon a rock. And a serpent isn't always on the left-hand side. The Lord said, right, be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. And we're like a righteous serpent, right? Like it says in Proverbs 30th chapter, upon the way of a rock, right? Let me get this quick precept. All right, so I can bear with me. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 30, and I'm going to start at verse 19. The way of an eagle in the air. I'm going to start at 18. There be three things which are too wonderful for me, yet four which I know not. The way of an eagle in the air, right? Because they're tall, they're high, they soar, they can see 3 miles away, right? It's beautiful, the creature of an eagle. An actual eagle isn't wicked, but the attributes of the image is made off of that manifest through Esau is. The way of a serpent upon a rock. A serpent can hide, a serpent can blend in, a serpent can rattle his tail, a serpent can wrap his damn tail around you, a serpent can swim. It's 1,000 things a serpent can do, and before you know it, it strikes. It says the way of a ship in the midst of a sea, and the way of a man with a maid. So it's a wonderful thing, the way of a serpent, right, upon a rock. How it may move, right? So the insurrection and the things that's going to be going on, right? These men are going to finally be able to be themselves. It says they shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. They shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. What is that talking about, cast them out of their houses? Meaning they have a case, they're waiting on you, and now you're brought up for execution. This is what this is going into. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. And that's brought to be tortured, killed, beheaded, or God knows what. All right, let me get this other one. Now, this is what they call the CIA, right? The Central Intelligence Agency. Now, they're also a part of all of the other alliances with eyes that can watch and see everything you do. We give U.S. lenders, leaders, the intelligence. They know they need to keep our country safe, right? So they give all of the U.S. leaders, their intelligence. As the world premier's foreign intelligence agency, the work, right, we do at the CIA is vital to the U.S. nation security. We collect and analyze foreign intelligence and conduct vert action. What does it mean we collect? Read it again slow. We collect and analyze foreign intelligence. What does analyze mean? They're watching it, they're viewing it. Okay, this is going to be that, this is going to be that, this is going to be that. And they're going to form a case against you. That happened against Paul. Right, let me get the book of Acts. It's the mighty book of Acts, chapter 24, and verse, right? I mean, this whole thing is fire. I'm going to start at 5. It says, "For we have found this man a pestilent fellow." So as they're bringing him up on charges, they're looking at Paul as somebody that's pestilent. He's always in the way. He's always bringing confusion. And a mover of sedition among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes, who also have gone about to profane the temple, whom we look and would have judged according to our law. So they're going to look at anybody that's teaching and leading and doing the work of the Most High as a pestilent fellow, right? A leader, a mover of sedition, and somebody that's utterly evil and coming against the words, right, that they have wrote. But we have to be wise and understand the times that we live in. This isn't a game or a joke, right? Right? And you also have, like I said, all hell breaking loose with Trump telling the Christians you won't have to vote anymore. Right? But let me close out on this precept real fast. This is the book. Get this quick precept. 2 Maccabees 7. And I'm going to start at verse number 38. "And that in me and in my brethren the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon all our nation, may cease. Then the king, being enraged, handled them worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked." So you have the king, right, in 2 Maccabees, the 7th chapter. You have Nebuchadnezzar II, right, with a song of the three holy children, that whenever the pipe, the psaltery, or all their music was played, that they may bow down before the image. And that's spiritual, because whenever the spiritual music is played in this land, what's the spiritual music? All of their laws, their decrees, their speeches, dun, 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 all America votes, all of the Confederate, all of the camaraderie, all of the music that's being played on the left-hand side. If you don't bow down to that or get down to that, you're going to be put to death. It says, "So the man died undefiled and put his whole trust in the Lord. Last of all, it's like at last of after the sons, the mother died. Let this be, do now have spoken concerning idolatrous feasts and extreme tortures." So the same thing the Lord said, them that be idle are going to be what? Given to idolatrous foods and feasts. It's the same thing they did in the Maccabees' time. And extreme tortures. Remember the 40 martyrs of Sabian and all of these accounts of all of these men that have died. And they didn't die in vain. They died for the Lord. And they're going to have a great resurrection of the just. Let me get this quick precept. It's the mighty book of Daniel. So, like, bear with me. It's the mighty book of Daniel, chapter 3. And I'm going to start at verse 15. It says, "Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, the dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image." Meaning at the drop of a dime, when this man is telling you to worship the image of the beast, you have to do it at any given time. That's why it says in Revelation, the 13th chapter, It's Revelation chapter 13, and I'm going to start at verse 8. It says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written, right, in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the earth. But then everybody's going to dance and get down to the beat of his drum. Everybody's going to worship and do everything, right, that he tells them to do. I'm jumping down to verse number 12. And he exercised of all the power of the first beast before him, right, meaning Rome, and cause of all, so like the cause of the earth, and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven, right on earth in the sight of men. His military war, his bombs, his missiles, and his nukes, his drones, and all of his fire, and the Lord calls that sorcery, that atomic bomb spirit. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles. So by the means of his strength, he has deceived men. By means of military, winning wars, aircraft, fighter jets, submarines, and all of the things that he could issue out fire and destruction to have the countenance and the conversation and the strength of man to be on his side. The Lord said, you have deceived men, which ye have power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live. Check this the point. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. This is all throughout prophecy. It's great insurrection. It's great persecution. And it's coming to pass. Don't think that it's a day in 2000 XYZ this month and this day was going to come to pass when laws are slowly coming to pass now. That's why watching is so prudent. Because a snake, it isn't just going to rattle up real fast. It's very slow, very subtle, very crafty, very patient. It may stay in the same position for 2 years. And then out of nowhere, you blinked and then it moved up 5 feet. Right? But let me get this closing precept right through the spirit. Let me get this closing precept. Let's go to the mighty book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse number 2. Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die. For I have not found thy works perfect before God. Meaning keep watch and understand what you need to do as a man, woman, or child in his faith and perfect it until the coming of the Lord and Savior, Yahweh. Right? If not, right, you're going to contemn small things and fall little and little. You're going to fall away or drift back in the world. You have to stay on fire in this truth. You have to love fighting and contending for the faith and being a warrior and a soldier for the Lord. Remember, therefore, how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. Right, so continue to keep watch, continue to be diligent, continue to pray, read, and fast, continue to strive to be perfect in the fear of the Most High. Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. Shalom.